Captain, before we step onto this add-on island, tell me, what does also make you feel when it adds one more thing, introduces an extra point, and pairs ideas in a stronger structure? Meaning one in addition to as well. Used to add another piece of information. Example, Nova packed maps and also brought extra lanterns. Common use, also need, also want, also know. Also extra lanterns. Meaning two as well, including another person or thing. Used to say another person or thing is included in the same situation. Example, the captain is coming and I'm also coming. Common use, me too, also me, also them. Also me. Meaning three, furthermore, used to strengthen or connect an argument. Used to introduce an extra reason or a stronger point in a clear, logical flow. Example, the route is shorter, also the water is calmer there. Common use, also and also because. Also. Also is flexible. It can sit mid-sentence, at the start for an extra point, or inside paired structures for emphasis. Stack your ideas cleanly, Captain. Carry also to add one more fact, to introduce one more reason, and to bind 2 points with extra force as we sail to the next island. Captain, before we step onto this solo signal island, tell me, what does alone make you feel when it means by yourself, only and nothing else, and feeling lonely in a quiet place? Meaning one by yourself, with no other people. Used when someone is not with anyone else. Example, Nova walked alone along the shore at sunrise. Common use, live alone, be alone, feel alone. Alone. Meaning two only, the single one, without anything else included. Used to emphasize that just one person or thing is involved. Example, that alone was enough to change the plan. Common use, you alone, alone can, alone is enough. Alone is enough. Meaning three, without help, independently. Used when someone does something without support or assistance. Example, she repaired the sail alone. Common use, do it alone, work alone, manage alone. Fix it alone. Alone can describe a fact or a feeling. The emotion usually shows up with words like feel, seem, or look. Link the mood and the meaning, Captain. Carry alone for solo moments, for the one and only factor, and for the loneliness that can appear even in a crowd as we sail to the next island. Captain, before we step onto this handshake island, tell me, what does agreement make you feel when it becomes a deal on paper, a shared opinion between people, and a perfect match between parts that must fit? Meaning 1, the state of having the same opinion, harmony of views. Used when people think the same or reach the same conclusion. Example, there was agreement among the crew about the safest route. Common use, in agreement, reach agreement, agreement on an issue. In agreement, meaning 2, a deal or contract, an arrangement between sides. Used for official or clear promises, often written and signed. Example, they signed an agreement to share supplies during the voyage. Common use, sign an agreement, legal agreement, agreement terms. Agreement. Meaning 3, matching, consistency between things. Used when two things fit together correctly, especially in rules or facts. Example, the compass reading was in agreement with the stars. Common use, agreement with, agreement between, agreement in numbers. Agreement. Agreement can be about people or about matching parts. The phrase around it, like agreement to, agreement that, or agreement between, usually tells you which. Keep your connections clean, Captain. Carry agreement for solid deals, shared views, and the satisfying click of parts that truly match as we sail to the next island. Captain, before we step onto this fine-tuning island, tell me, what does adjust make you feel when it means making a small change, getting used to a new situation, and settling a number or a count to the correct level? Meaning 1, to change something slightly to improve it. Used when you make a small change to make something better or correct. Example, Nova adjusted the sail angle to catch more wind. Common use, adjust settings, adjust the plan, adjust the volume. Adjust the angle, meaning to adapt yourself to a new situation, to get used to something. Used when a person changes habits or behavior to fit a new environment. Example, the crew adjusted to life on the island quickly. Common use, adjust to change, adjust to a new routine, adjust to the weather. Adjust to island life, meaning 3, to set or position something correctly, to align. Used when you move an object so it sits in the right place. Example, she adjusted the telescope until the stars were clear. Common use, adjust the seat, adjust the mirror, adjust the focus. Adjust focus. Adjust often suggests a small change, not a complete redesign. It is the word for fine-tuning. Make the micro moves count, Captain. Carry adjust for fine changes, settling into new routines and correcting the numbers that keep the voyage honest as we sail to the next island. Captain, before we step onto this side-by-side island, tell me, what does adjacent make you feel when it means right next to something, sharing a border or edge, and being closely connected in a related area? Meaning 1. Next to, beside, very close. Used when two things are located side by side. Example, the crew anchored near an adjacent island. Common use, adjacent room, adjacent seat. Adjacent island. Adjacent islands. Meaning 2. Sharing a border or edge, touching sides. Used when places meet at a line or boundary. Example, their camp was adjacent to the forest line. Common use, adjacent to the road, adjacent to the beach, adjacent boundary. Adjacent zones. Meaning 3. Closely related in position, nearby in a layout or system. Used when items are near each other in a plan, diagram, or arrangement. Example, the repair tools are stored in the adjacent compartment. Common use, adjacent section, adjacent compartment, adjacent area. Adjacent compartment. Adjacent usually appears with 2. If you see that pairing, the meaning is almost always about being next to or closely connected. Link what belongs together, Captain. Carry adjacent for the dock beside you, the border you share, and the ideas that sit close enough to strengthen each other as we sail to the next island.